Jefferson County Court, law number 2 is back in session. The court is in session and calls number 333-060. The case is styled the state of Texas versus Chad Preston Basham. Mr. Basham, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Basham, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Basham, you may put your hand down. Mr. Basham, is your full name Chad Preston Basham?
Yes, sir.
And how are you doing, Mr. Basham?
Doing fine, Your Honor.
That's good. Mr. Basham, you're here represented by your attorney, Attorney Willard Hall. Again, Attorney Hall, how are you doing?
Great, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mr. Hall, do you waive a record in Mr. Basham's case?
We do.
Mr. Basham, I have before me a document that is titled information. This information alleges that on or about April 22nd of 2022, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class B misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated. Mr. Basham, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Mr. Basham, how do you plead guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest, Your Honor.
Mr. Basham, do you plead no contest freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Basham, are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Basham, I also have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishment. Also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. Mr. Basham, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of this same document, Mr. Basham, there are a set of initials, CB,
Yes, sir.
that are on a line next to a box that's checked nola contendere, which means no contest. Are these your initials on this document?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
On page 3 of this same document, there is a signature above the line entitled defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
On the next document is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
And is this your signature above the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
There are 2 boxes that's checked at the top of this document. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Basham, I also have a document here. This document is titled Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Basham, before you signed and initialed all of these documents that I've just mentioned to you, did your attorney, Mr. Hall, go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir, he did, Your Honor.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Mr. Basham, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit Number 1, the misdemeanor plea admonishment, and I have State's Exhibit Number 2, the probable cause affidavit that is in the court's file. State, you like to offer States 1 and 2?
Yes, Your Honor. State offer stage 1 and stage 2.
Any objections?
No objection, Your Honor.
No objections. States Exhibits 1 and 2 are admitted, and the court will take judicial notice of States Exhibit Number 2. Mr. Hall, you have advised and counseled Mr. Basham. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Basham, your attorney, Mr. Hall, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir, I am, Your Honor.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Mr. Basham, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
We do, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
Your Honor, in exchange for defendant's plea of no contest in this case, the state is recommending that the court defer adjudicating guilt at this time and instead place defendant in community supervision for a period of 1 year, Your Honor. Require defendant to pay a $500 fine and to complete 40 hours of community service. And we're also asking that the standard terms and conditions for probation in this DWI case, Your Honor, to include an interlock device.
He already has it installed.
Okay, so now, Mr. Johnson.
Yes, sir.
Well, let me ask Mr. Basham. Mr. Basham, do you have a commercials driver's license?
No, sir.
CDL? You don't have one, that's good. And now, Mr. Johnson, was his blood alcohol concentration less than 0.15?
It was, Your Honor. This isn't an alcohol DWI.
There wasn't any alcohol detected in his blood test.
Okay, so it was less than 0.15. That's all I needed to know.
Yes, sir. Oh, yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, so you didn't have no alcohol. Okay. And let's see. And this occurred, all of this occurred after September 1st of 2019,
It did.
because this is a 2022. So
And-
you meet, yes,
Just for the record, Your Honor, it was not a alcohol DWI case, but there were allegations of a bunch of empty alcohol bottles, kind of.
yeah, I think Article 42A.102, in order for him to be eligible for a deferred adjudication, the court has to determine, one, whether or not he has a CDL. He does not have a CDL. And two, whether or not the alcohol concentration as defined by section 49.01 was 0.15 or more. And so he didn't have any, so it was less than 0.15 or more because it was zero, I would imagine.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
And I just meant supporting the use of the interlock device, because I know.
no, interlock, I guess, on the DWI is automatic.
Deferred when you get.
When you get deferred, you're
Yes,
right. That's automatic requirement. Okay, so meet the eligibility requirements for deferred adjudication. So, Mr. Basham,
Yes, sir.
the state is offering that you serve 1 year deferred adjudicated probation. During that what will happen is there would not be a finding of guilt. That will be deferred or put off. And so you'll be placed on deferred probation for a period of 1 year. During this 1 year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $500 plus court costs of $422, which comes to a total of fine and court costs of $922. You'll also be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month, a urinalysis fee of $15 each month, and you'll be required to reimburse Jefferson County DWI education and initial evaluate, well, you'll be required to pay the Jefferson County DWI education and initial evaluation fee of $125 on the day of the plea. Should a further evaluation be needed, you'll be required to pay an additional $50. Now, your total monthly installments, that is the total amount that you will be required to pay each month while you're on probation, is $160 a month. Will you be able to pay the $160 each month?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
You'll also be required to perform 40 hours of community service. You'll be required to attend and complete a DWI education class and have a drug and alcohol assessment. You'll be required to install a DWI interlock device on any vehicle that you own or operate. And you will also be required to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of this probation. Now, Mr. Basham, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
And do you think that the state's offer is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Basham, the court is going to defer a finding of guilt. You will be placed on deferred probation for a period of 1 year with the terms that we've just mentioned. In essence, the court will be following the plea bargain agreement. Now, Mr. Basham, if you successfully complete this probation, then this will not result in a conviction on your record, and you may qualify for a non-disclosure, and you can talk to your attorney about the non-disclosure because he is quite competent in those matters. Now, after the adjudication of guilt, all proceedings, including assessment of punishment, a pronouncement of sentence, granting of community supervision, and defendant's appeal continues as if adjudication of guilt had not been deferred. A court assessing punishment after the adjudication of guilt of a defendant charged with we don't need that one. And so, Mr. Basham, if you upon violation of any condition of deferred adjudication, community supervision imposed under Article 42A.104, the defendant may be arrested, detained as provided in Article 42A.751. Now, the defendant is entitled to a hearing limited to the determination by the court of whether the court will proceed with an adjudication of guilt on the original charge. The court may not proceed with adjudication of guilt on the original charge if the court finds that the only evidence supporting the alleged violation of a condition of deferred adjudication probation is an uncorroborated results of a polygraph exam. Determination to proceed when adjudication of guilt on the original charge is reviewable in the same manner as a revocation hearing conducted under Article 42A.751D in a case which adjudication of guilt was not deferred. Now, Mr. Basham, you're going to stand on the X next to your attorney. You're going to follow the directions of our clerk. Once you finish following her directions, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I get your right thumbprint on that license? Pick it back up and place it back down. Before we then pick it up. Thank you. Now read your thumb.
Ready?
Not yet.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. Our fingerprint machine has been a little slow the past couple weeks. So it takes a second to
Camera.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Basham, can I have you raise your right hand? Please swear that you've never before been given probation or deferred adjudication for a felony or misdemeanor in Texas or any other state.
Yes, ma'am.
And you have no other pending charges that you're aware of.
No, ma'am.
Perfect. Okay, so you're just gonna take this paperwork to the probation office. I've attached a map on how to get there to the front page, and you're good to go.
This was right there, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Have a good day.
You can step out and everything's all right.
Well, sometimes.
Next case is cause number 324453. The case is style of State of Texas versus Quintarius Demondre Neal. Mr. Neal, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Neal, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Neal, you may put your hand down. Mr. Neal, your full name is Quintarius Demondre Neal. Is that correct? How are you doing, Mr. Neal? You doing good? Mr. Neal, you're here represented by your attorney, Attorney John West. Attorney West, how are you doing?
Good, thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. West, do you waive a record in Mr. Neal's case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Neal, I have before me a document that is titled information. This information was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. In this information, it alleges that on or about June 30th of 2019, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of burglary of a vehicle. Mr. Neal, do you understand what you have been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to discharge, Mr. Neal, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest? Now, are you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily?
Freely.
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
I do not wish to fight.
Okay. Now, Mr. Neal. Yes, sir.
We may have an issue with the defendant's plea, Your Honor.
Okay, hold on a minute. I'll give y'all some opportunity to talk.
We plead out of no contest.
Oh, okay. Mr. Neal, I have before me a document that is titled information. This information alleges that on or about June 30th of 2019, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of burglary of a vehicle. Mr. Neal, do you understand what you have been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to discharge, Mr. Neal, how do you plead? Not guilty, guilty, or no contest?
Guilty.
Now, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Freely.
And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Sir.
Yes. Now, Mr. Neal, I also have before me a document that is titled Discovery. Well, that's titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishment. It's also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. Mr. Neal, do you recognize this document?
Sir.
On page 2 of this same document, there are a set of initials on a line next to a box that check guilty. Mr. Neal, did you place your initials on this document? On page 3 of this same document, there is a signature above the line and it's titled defendant. Is this your signature? On the next document, this document is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal. Do you recognize this document? And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant? There are 2 boxes that's checked at the top of this document. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that? The second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that? And Mr. Neal, I also have before me a document that is titled Discovery Certification Do you recognize this document? And is this your signature above the line that's titled defendant? Now, Mr. Neal, before you signed and initialed these documents, did you read these documents?
Yes, sir.
And did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents? And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge? Now, state, well, Mr. Neal, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me
I have,
States Exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer States Exhibit number 1?
Yes, Your Honor, state offer states one.
Any objections?
No objection.
And state would ask that the court take judicial notice of the probable cause affidavit in the state's file as it would like to admit it as state's exhibit number 2.
You have any objections?
I would object on that because we changed our plea to guilty, not no contest, so I don't think we need to do that. Usually that's for a no contest case, usually not for.
Yeah, let's see.
Only there's really a reason for that.
Well, he's already pled guilty to the
Yeah, he's pled guilty.
to the facts.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
And so he's pleading guilty to even whatever is included in the probable cause affidavit.
Yes, sir. And I do understand, Your Honor, that's just an extra path of protection that I usually do, but
Yeah, he's already,
That's usually for a no contest plea.
Yeah.
He's guilty.
and
Yeah.
I
Okay.
understand.
Okay. okay. Now where was I? Okay, State's Exhibit number 1 is admitted. Mr. West, you've advised in counsel, Mr. Neal, is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Neal, your attorney, Mr. West, is advising counsel you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Sir.
Has he provided fully effective and competent legal representation?
sir.
Okay, just for the record, Mr. West, I swore Mr. Neal in, right?
Yes, sir.
And you waived the record, is that correct?
Absolutely, yes, Your
All
Honor.
right, in this case. All right, now, Mr. Neal, your attorney, Mr. West, is advising counsel you, are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided fully effective and competent legal representation?
Sir.
And, okay, state, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
We do, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
Your Honor, in exchange for the defendant's plea of guilty, in this case, the state is recommending confinement in the Jefferson County Jail for a period of 20 days, Your Honor. We're asking that the defendant be given credit for 20 days he has already spent in jail, making this a time served plea agreement, Your Honor. And lastly, we're asking that the court use the time served for both tax and prior court costs.
Okay, so the court is gonna first find that, the court is gonna accept Mr. Neal, plea of guilty. The court is gonna find that he's mentally competent to stand trial. The court is also gonna find that his plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. The court will find that there is sufficient evidence to find him guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, Mr. Neal, the state is offering that you serve 20 days in the Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not have to serve any more time in the Jefferson County Jail in this case, because you've already served 20 days in Jefferson County Jail. Therefore, you'll be given credit for the time that you have already served. The court cost in this case is $407, but you will not have to pay the $407 court cost because the time that you spent in jail has already paid it off. Therefore, the court cost will be taxed and retired. Mr. Neal, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Neal, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Neal, you're going to stand on the X next to your attorney, follow the directions of our clerk. Once you finish following her directions, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day.
Hi, Mr. Neal. How are you? Can I put your right thumbprint on that blue light in front of me, please? Pick it back up and place it back down for me gently. Very simple. Thank you. You can move your thumb. And take a second. Blow it.
Mr. Falk, your case is gonna be reset 30 days, give you an opportunity to hire Mr. Galmore.
Okay.
Please stand on the X in front of our coordinator once you, no, the coordinator on the far X. Once you reset your case, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. Next case is cause number 332722. Case is styled of State of Texas versus Reginald S. Allison. I'm doing fine. And Mr. Allison, your full name is Reginald Santal Allison Jr.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Allison, how are you doing?
I'm good.
That's good. Mr. Allison, I see here that your case was reset to give you an opportunity or time to hire an attorney. Is that
Yes, sir.
correct? Have you hired your attorney?
No, sir, I was gonna ask, could I try to apply again? Cause last time I tried to apply, I wasn't eligible because I wasn't paying any bills at the time.
Okay, he needs the, is there an affidavit of indigence that should be out there on the table? You're gonna give him a clipboard. No, just have a seat at that table right there. They're gonna give you a pen and an affidavit of indigence. Next case is cause number 323676. Case is style of state of Texas versus William Roy Porterfield. Mr. Porterfield, would you please come forward? For the record, is your full name William Roy Porterfield?
Yes, yes, sir.
How are you doing, Mr. Porterfield?
Good.
That's good. Mr. Porterfield, you're here represented by your attorney, Attorney Ralph Kimler. Attorney Kimler, how are you doing?
Well, thank you.
That's good. Mr. Johnson, who's representing the state of Texas, Mr. Lamar Johnson. I have before me a motion to dismiss. And Mr. Johnson, is that correct? The state is dismissing this case?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Mr. Porterfield, the state is dismissing your case. I've signed the dismissal. I will be handing a copy of this dismissal to your attorney. This will conclude your case. You'll be free to go. And you have a blessed day.
All right.
Johnson, thank you.
Fine, thank you. Thank you, sir. Yeah, thank you. Good day.
All right, you have a good day as well. Let's see. Next case is cause number 333506. Case is style of state of Texas versus Aaron Hernandez Garcia. Mr. Garcia, are you represented by Attorney Ralph Kimler? Attorney Kimler, would you please come forward? Now, your full name is Adrian Hernandez Garcia.
Yes, sir.
How are you doing, Mr. Garcia? That's good. Mr. Garcia, you're here represented by your attorney, Ralph Kimler. Now, Mr. Garcia, were you given bond conditions in this case?
If I was getting that.
Bond conditions. Were you ordered to have an interlock device on your vehicle? This is Adrian Garcia, cause number 333506. He's at the bottom of the last page. Would you please look it up, see if he has those bond conditions?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Do you have the interlock in your vehicle?
Yeah. I have.
Okay, he must have been giving them at the jail. Is it in the computer? Let me, give me those bond conditions up there. What's your announcement?
If I can hold it, sure, I'm ready, but let me.
Put it on hold?
let me-
Okay, okay, we'll hold. Mr. Garcia, just have a seat. I think
Is that it?
that's it for you. You have now this is cause number 333784, case of style of state of Texas versus Deontay Jamion Richard. Mr. Richard, how are you doing? Now you're representing your case by your attorney Don Boudreaux. So I understand, and now Mr. Boudreaux is not here. We contacted his office. His office stated that he was at the courthouse. I do know that you have a felony case and you went to felony court this morning. What happened with that case? Did they reset it? Okay, now normally we try to keep these cases together. State, you like to have this case set on the same court date?
Please, Your Honor.
Do you have your court date? What is that court date? April 24th? No, April 24th of 2023. This case will be reset along with your felony case. Stay in contact with your attorney and your bondsman. You're gonna stand on the 4X. Our court coordinator will reset your case to the same court date. Now, you're gonna do like you did today. Well, normally, the state, usually, I mean, we can put it on a different date. Okay. Yeah, I'll put them on a different date. Yeah.
Okay, what day you want to put it
Just look at what date we have on the calendar, next court date.
on? May 3rd.
May 3rd, okay. We'll put it on May 3rd. Okay? 2023. Get your reset. Once you get your reset, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. Mr. Warren, your full name is Warren Lede Jr., is that correct?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Mr. Lede?
I'm already here.
I'm doing fine, thanks for asking. Now, Mr. Lede, you have 3 felony cases. And those cases will set the date as well, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And have you been given another court date?
I haven't been given the court date yet.
That court date is April 3rd.
April 3rd. Now,
No, well, the state is asking that the court, please instruct the defendant to, put away, look like he may have some, paraphernalia in his back pocket hanging out.
well,
It's nice, it's for meant for work. I cover my head up at work.
just put it in your pocket. But gangs wear certain colors,
Yes, sir.
blue and red, and the major 2, I mean,
Yeah, he had it on his head before he came in.
okay. Now, Mr. Lede, they say they're gonna reset your case, but they haven't he has a date?
It's reset to April 3rd.
Okay, now we can reset this on April 3rd or a different date,
That's fine.
April 3rd. Okay, so you're gonna do like you did today, and that is, you're gonna come this court, check in, go to felony court, and then when you finish the felony court, you're gonna come back here.
Yes, sir.
All right, stay in contact with your attorney and your bondsman. We give a notice of your reset date. Once you get your reset dates, you'll be free to go. You have a blessed day. Thanks for your patience and sorry for your inconvenience.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, but stay in contact with your attorney. Yes.
I was here last time, but I didn't get it. I had it, but I took it to jail. So they took it down.
Okay. Just hold on. We'll be able to get you one. Okay, just hold on. Court is back in session in cause number 332-722. Case is style of state of Texas versus Reginald S. Allison or Reginald Santel Allison Jr. Mr. Allison, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Allison, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Allison, you may put your hand down. Mr. Allison, I have before me two documents. First document is titled Judge's Explanation of Rights to Defendants Without Attorney. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Allison, is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes, sir.
And are these your initials on the line stating that you would like to apply for a court-appointed attorney?
Yes, sir.
I also have a document that's titled Jefferson County Affidavit of Indigence. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of the same document, Mr. Allison, there is a signature above the line that is titled Defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Allison, before you signed and initialed these documents that I just showed you, did you read the documents?
Yes, sir.
Did you understand what you read?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Allison, I've read your answers in these documents. Based on your answers, why did she miss? She skipped him. Okay, based on your answers in these documents, you meet the eligibility requirements for the appointment of a, let me ask you something. Mr. Oh, excuse me. Mr. Allison, you meet the eligibility requirements for the appointment of a court-appointed attorney. The attorney that will be appointed to represent you in this case is Attorney Nathan Reynolds Jr. Attorney Reynolds will be given information on how to contact you. You will also be given information on how to contact him. Our court coordinator will give you that information. And once you get that information from our court coordinator, you'll be free to go. And you have a blessed day. Please stand on, thank you. Please stand on the 4X. Following short.
What's your name?
Here you go.